The video had 2.3 million views before I even knew it existed. Me. Him. A parking lot behind Riley's bar at 2 in the morning. His hand on my face. My mouth on his. 7 seconds that destroyed the lie I'd been living for 28 years. The caption said, "Caught, married man kissing dude after claiming he's super straight." They tagged my wife. They tagged my church. They tagged my goddamn employer. And the worst part? The absolute fucking worst part? I couldn't stop watching it. Couldn't stop seeing the look on my face right before our lips met. Like I'd been holding my breath my entire life and finally remembered how to breathe. How do you explain that you've been lying to everyone, including yourself, when the truth is captured in 4K and going viral? If you've ever been terrified of what happens when the person you pretend to be meets the person you actually are, this story is for you. Hit that like button if you're ready for something real. I was good at being straight. Let me be clear about that up front, because it matters. I wasn't some closeted guy dropping obvious hints, wearing tight shirts to the gym, or lingering too long in locker rooms. I was convincing. Football Sundays with the guys. Barbecues where I'd talk about how hot the bartender was. A girlfriend, later wife, named Jessica who looked like she walked out of a J.Crew catalog. I voted Republican. Drove a Ford F-150. Had a mortgage in Riverside, a suburb 40 minutes outside the city where everyone mowed their lawns on Saturday and went to Calvary Baptist on Sunday. I said things like, "no homo" without irony. Laughed at gay jokes. Called things gay when I meant stupid. I was a fucking performance artist. And I didn't even know I was performing. The first time I saw Marcus was at a company team building thing in March. One of those forced fun situations where they make you do trust falls and pretend you give a shit about corporate synergy. He worked in the design department. I was in sales, and we'd never crossed paths before. He had this way of listening where he'd tilt his head slightly, like he was actually hearing you instead of just waiting for his turn to talk. Dark hair, darker eyes, a smile that felt like it knew something you didn't. "You hate this too, right?" he said during the lunch break, appearing beside me at the sandwich table. "Is it that obvious? You've been staring at the exit for 20 minutes like it's the last helicopter out of Vietnam." I laughed. Actually laughed. That's exactly what it feels like. "Marcus," he said, extending his hand. "Ryan." His handshake was firm, warm, lasted maybe half a second too long. I told myself I was imagining it. Over the next 2 months, we became work friends. Coffee runs. Lunch at the Thai place on 5th Street. Complaining about management, trading stories about college, discovering we both loved the same obscure sci-fi novels nobody else had heard of. Jessica noticed. "You talk about this Marcus guy a lot," she said one night while we were loading the dishwasher. "He's just a friend from work." I didn't say he wasn't. She handed me a plate. "You should invite him over for dinner sometime. I'd like to meet him." The thought of Marcus in my house, in my carefully constructed life, made my stomach twist in a way I refused to examine. "Maybe," I said, which meant never. The thing about denial is that it's not passive. It's active, exhausting work. Every day I got up and chose the lie. Chose to kiss Jessica without feeling much of anything. Chose to have mediocre sex twice a month and pretend it was what I wanted. Chose to ignore the way my breath caught when Marcus laughed or the way I found excuses to stay late at work on days I knew he'd be there. I told myself it was normal. That everyone felt this way about their close friends. That the tightness in my chest when he texted was just, what? Friendship. Admiration. Bullshit. All of it. Bullshit. I was so good at believing that I'd convinced myself it was true. In June, Marcus broke up with his girlfriend. He told me over lunch, picking at his pad thai without eating it. "We wanted different things," he said. "She wanted me to be someone I'm not." "That's rough, man. Sorry." He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I felt something crack inside my chest. Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life? What do you mean? Like you're playing a part. Saying the right things, doing what you're supposed to do, but none of it actually fits. I should have said no. Should have changed the subject. Should have made a joke about midlife crises or needing a vacation. Instead I said, every single day. The words hung between us like smoke. Yeah, Marcus said softly. I thought so. That night, Jessica wanted sex. I went through the motions, closed my eyes, and thought about nothing. About football stats and grocery lists and anything except the look on Marcus's face when he'd said I thought so. Afterward, she curled against me in the dark. You okay? She asked. Just tired. Work stuff. Another lie. The architecture was intricate now, towering and fragile, held together by 10,000 small deceptions. In July, a group from work decided to meet at Riley's bar on a Friday night. Nothing fancy. Cheap beer, loud music, someone's birthday or promotion, or whatever excuse we needed to pretend we enjoyed each other's company outside of conference rooms. Marcus was there. So was I. So was Jessica, who decided to come along because she wanted to meet my work friends finally. I drank more than I should have. So did Marcus. Jessica spent most of the night talking to the marketing girls in the corner, occasionally glancing over to make sure I was still alive. Around midnight, Marcus leaned close, the music was loud, and said, Want to get some air? Yeah, okay. Outside, the parking lot was nearly empty. Summer heat still radiating off the asphalt even though it was past midnight. Marcus lit a cigarette, offered me one. I took it even though I'd quit years ago. Your wife seems nice, he said. She is. You love her. The question should have offended me. Should have made me defensive, angry. Instead I just felt tired. I don't know how to answer that. Marcus exhaled smoke into the dark. That's an answer. What about you? I asked, deflecting. Seeing anyone new? No. He turned to look at me, and in the streetlight his eyes were almost black. I'm done pretending. Pretending what? That I want what I'm supposed to want. My heart was hammering now. Marcus. I'm not straight, Ryan. Haven't been for a while. Maybe never was. I just got really good at lying to myself about it. The world tilted. Why are you telling me this? Because I think you already know. And I think maybe you need to hear someone say it out loud. Say what? He stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell his cologne, cigarettes, something else underneath that was just him. That it's okay. That you don't have to keep performing. That whoever you actually are. He didn't finish the sentence because I kissed him. I don't remember deciding to do it. 1 second I was standing there, frozen, and the next my hand was on his face and my mouth was on his and every carefully constructed wall I'd built around myself was crashing down. He kissed me back. God, he kissed me back like he'd been waiting for it. Like it was the most natural thing in the world. 7 seconds. That's all it was. Then my phone rang. Jessica, wondering where I'd gone. And I pulled away like I'd been burned, stumbling backward. I'm sorry, I said. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. Ryan. I'm not gay. I'm married. Ryan, someone's recording. I turned. Across the parking lot, leaning against a car, was Connor from accounting. Phone raised. Smiling like he'd just won the lottery. Great content, boys, he called out. The internet's gonna love this. Everything after that was a blur. Connor walking away. Marcus trying to talk to me. Me getting in my truck and driving home too fast with shaking hands. Lying to Jessica about where I'd been. Lying in bed staring at the ceiling waiting for my life to explode. The video went live on TikTok at 3:47 a.m. By breakfast, I was viral. The first person to call was my brother. 6:23 a.m. Jessica was in the shower. I was sitting at the kitchen table staring at my phone, watching the view count climb like a stock ticker during a crash. 2.3 million. 2.4 million. 2.5 million. What the fuck, Ryan? Tyler's voice was sharp enough to cut glass. Mom's been calling me crying. Aunt Linda sent the whole family group chat a link. What the actual fuck? Tyler. Are you gay? Is this real? Please tell me this is photoshopped or some deepfake bullshit because Dad just had to take blood pressure medication. It's not. I don't. You kissed a dude. On camera. And now it's everywhere. Fox News is talking about it, Ryan. Fox News. They're calling you the suburban straight washing case study. I closed my eyes. Where's Mom? Where do you think? On her knees in the prayer room begging Jesus to fix her broken son. Don't say it like that. How should I say it? Huh. You've got a wife, Ryan. A wife. Who I'm guessing is about to see her husband making out with some guy and, oh Jesus, she doesn't know yet, does she? The shower shut off upstairs. I have to go. Ryan, you need to. I hung up. Deleted TikTok from my phone like that would somehow make it stop existing. Opened Instagram. Already 3 DMs from people I went to high school with. Dude, is this you? OMG Ryan, I always knew lol. This is disgusting. Repent or burn. The bathroom door opened upstairs. Jessica's footsteps in the bedroom. My phone buzzed. Text from my boss. We need to talk. Monday. 9 a.m. sharp. Another buzz. My mom. How could you do this to us? Another. Marcus. Ryan, please call me, we need to talk about what happened. I turned the phone face down and made coffee with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Jessica came downstairs in her bathrobe, hair wrapped in a towel. Morning. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. She kissed the top of my head, poured herself coffee, sat down across from me. I had the weirdest dream that someone from your work was texting me at like 4 in the morning, but I think I was too tired to check it properly. My stomach dropped. What? She picked up her phone. Unlocked it. Her face changed. It took 3 seconds. 3 seconds for her entire world to rearrange itself. Ryan. Her voice was very small. Why is Connor from your company asking me if I know my husband is gay? Jess. Why are there 7,000 people in my DMs calling you? She looked up at me, eyes wide. What happened last night after I left? I couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Couldn't do anything except watch her scroll through her phone, watch her face crumble as she found the video, watched it once, twice, 3 times. That's Marcus, she said. The guy from work. Your friend. Jessica. You kissed him. Her voice cracked. You're kissing him. On camera. And you're, God Ryan, you look like. She started crying. You look happy. I've never seen you look like that when you kiss me. It was a mistake. I was drunk, I wasn't thinking. Don't. She stood up so fast her chair tipped over. Don't you dare say you were drunk. I've seen you drunk 100 times and you never accidentally kissed anyone. I'm not gay. Then why did you kiss him? The question hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. I don't know, I whispered. You don't know. She laughed, but it sounded like breaking glass. You don't know. 2 million people are watching my husband kiss another man, and you don't know. Jessica, please. Do you love him? No. No, I barely know him. But you wanted to kiss him. I said nothing. That was answer enough. She grabbed her phone, her keys. I'm going to my sister's. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't. Her voice broke again. I need to think. Jess, wait. She was already gone. The front door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. I sat alone in my kitchen, in my house, in my carefully constructed life, and watched it all burn down through a phone screen. By noon, I'd been tagged in 400 posts. By 3 p.m., someone had created a "Is Ryan Carter gay?" poll on Twitter. By 6 p.m., I had 17 missed calls from church members and a voicemail from Pastor Mike asking me to have a conversation about spiritual warfare and the sanctity of marriage. I didn't answer any of it. Instead, I drove. Got in my truck and just drove. No destination, windows down, radio off. Ended up at a park on the east side where nobody knew me. My phone rang. Marcus. I'd been ignoring his calls all day, but something made me answer this time. Hey. Jesus Christ, Ryan, I've been trying to reach you for hours. Yeah, well, I've been busy having my life destroyed. I'm so sorry. If I'd known Connor was recording. It doesn't matter. We still kissed. I still did it. I leaned my head against the steering wheel. Jessica left. My family's losing their minds. Work's probably going to fire me. The internet thinks I'm either a tragic closet case or a lying piece of shit. What do you think you are? I think I'm tired, Marcus. I think I've been tired for 10 years and I didn't even realize it until last night. Silence on the line. Then, do you regret it? I should have said yes. Should have blamed the alcohol, the moment, temporary insanity. Should have done what I'd always done, lied to make things easier. No, I said instead. I regret everything else, but not that. Then what are you going to do? I don't know. Go back home. Try to fix my marriage. Pretend this never happened. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Is that what you want? What I want doesn't matter. Ryan. I'm 28 years old and I just discovered I don't know a single true thing about myself. I don't know what I want. I don't know who I am. All I know is that kissing you felt like waking up from a coma I didn't know I was in, and that's fucking terrifying. Another long silence. I'm here, Marcus said quietly. Whenever you're ready to figure it out. I'm here. I hung up before I could say something I couldn't take back. That night I slept, barely, in my truck in the parking lot. Woke up to 63 new notifications. Messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Friends, enemies, strangers. Everyone had an opinion about my life, my sexuality, my marriage, my soul. The one that broke me was from my mom. Your father and I raised you better than this. We're praying for deliverance, but you need to do your part. Come home. Recommit to your wife and your faith. Choose righteousness. Choose righteousness. As if being who I actually was could somehow be wrong. I drove back to my house at dawn. Jessica's car wasn't there. Neither was half of her closet when I checked. She'd come back while I was gone and taken what she needed. There was a note on the kitchen counter. I deserve someone who knows they want me. You deserve to figure out who you are. I'm filing on Monday. I'm sorry it ended this way. Jay. I sat on my kitchen floor and cried for the first time since I was 13. Cried for my marriage, my lies, the man I'd pretended to be and the man I might actually be. 7 seconds. That's all it took to demolish 28 years. And somehow, underneath the rubble, I could still feel that first breath. Monday morning I walked into the office at 8:47 a.m. knowing I was about to get fired. The look started in the parking lot. Karen from HR glancing away too quickly. Brad from logistics staring openly. Someone whispered as I passed. Someone else laughed. I kept my head down and walked straight to my boss's office. Dan Morrison was 53, balding, wore ties that looked like someone's grandfather had donated them to Goodwill. He'd worked at Patterson & Co. for 26 years. He'd given me this job, taught me how to close deals, invited me to his daughter's wedding. He couldn't look at me when I sat down. Ryan. He adjusted his tie, cleared his throat. I'm going to be direct because I think you deserve that much. Just say it, Dan. Corporate's concerned about the incident. About company image. The video was taken in a public place. You're identifiable as one of our employees, and it's created a situation that's... You're firing me. We're offering you a severance package if you resign quietly. 3 months' salary. Benefits through end of year. A neutral reference for future employers. And if I don't resign? His expression hardened. Then we terminate for conduct unbecoming, and you get nothing. I laughed. Actually laughed. Conduct unbecoming. That's what we're calling it. Ryan. I kissed someone, Dan. That's it. I didn't steal. Didn't harass anyone. Didn't break any laws. I kissed someone in a parking lot and someone recorded it without my permission. You kissed a man. While married. while representing this company at a company-sponsored social event. And if I'd kissed a woman who wasn't my wife, would we be having this conversation? His silence was the answer. Right. I stood up. I'll resign. Send me the papers. Ryan, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. This isn't personal. Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is. I walked out. Didn't clean out my desk. Didn't say goodbye to anyone. Just left. Marcus caught me in the parking lot. Ryan, wait. Did they fire you too? No. They said I was the victim of unwanted advances and offered me counseling. I stopped walking. You're kidding. I told them it was consensual. That we both wanted it. They said I was being manipulated and didn't understand the power dynamic. He looked disgusted. They're painting you as the predator and me as the confused straight guy you corrupted. That's insane. That's homophobia. He stepped closer. I went to HR this morning and told them I quit. I'm not working for people who think we did something wrong. Marcus, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Because unlike you, I've already lost everything trying to be someone I wasn't. I'm not doing it again. You just threw away your career for me. No. I threw it away for myself. You just happened to be the catalyst. He smiled sadly. Besides, I'm a graphic designer. I can freelance. You're the one who's really screwed. He wasn't wrong. Sales jobs required references. Required reputation. Required not being the guy from that viral gay kissing video. What am I supposed to do? I asked. Whatever you want. For the first time in your life, do whatever you actually want. I don't know what that is. Then figure it out. He left. I sat in my truck for 40 minutes trying to remember the last time I'd made a decision based on what I wanted instead of what I was supposed to do. I came up empty. That night my dad called. First time we'd spoken in 5 days. Your mother wants you to come to dinner, he said. No hello. No how are you. Just the demand. I don't think that's a good idea. It's not optional. Family meeting. Tomorrow at 6. Dad. 6 o'clock, Ryan. Don't be late. He hung up. I showed up at 5:58 p.m. to the house I grew up in, the house where I learned how to throw a football and say grace and never, ever admit weakness. Mom opened the door. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. Hi, Mom. She pulled me into a hug that felt like grief. My baby boy. Inside, the whole family was there. Dad in his recliner. Tyler on the couch with his wife. Aunt Linda and Uncle Rob. Pastor Mike from church, which explained everything. I should have left. Should have known it was an ambush. Instead I sat down. Pastor Mike started talking immediately. Spiritual warfare. The sanctity of marriage. The sin of homosexuality. The need for repentance and counseling and prayer. I let him talk for 20 minutes before I interrupted. I'm not sick. Everyone stared. I'm not possessed. Not confused. Not corrupted. I looked at my mother. I'm not broken. Ryan, Pastor Mike said gently, the enemy wants you to believe that. But God's design. God's design. I stood up. You want to talk about God's design? God designed me to pretend to love my wife. To lie every day. To hate myself for feeling things I couldn't control. You can control sin with prayer and discipline, he said. It's not a sin to be who you are. It is if who you are contradicts Scripture. Then maybe Scripture is wrong. My mother gasped. My father stood up, face red. Don't you dare, Dad said. Don't you dare stand in our house and say that. Or what? You'll disown me? Kick me out. Too late. Jessica already left. Work already fired me. The internet already hates me. What else is left to take? Your soul, Pastor Mike said quietly. That's what's left. And that's what we're trying to save. I laughed. It sounded bitter even to my own ears. You're not trying to save anything. You're trying to make me small enough to fit back in the box you built for me. But I don't fit anymore. Maybe I never did. Ryan, please. Mom was crying again. We just want you to be happy. No, you don't. You want me to be straight. There's a difference. Because being straight is natural, Aunt Linda interjected. It's how God intended. Then why did he make me like this? Silence. I'm 28 years old, I continued. I've spent every single one of those years performing a version of myself that made everyone comfortable. And you know what? It almost killed me. Not literally, though some days I thought about it, but it killed everything real inside me until I was just a shell saying the right things and feeling nothing. That's the depression talking, Pastor Mike said. Satan attacking your mind. It's not Satan. It's me. Finally being honest. So you admit it? Dad's voice was cold. You're choosing to be gay? I'm choosing to stop lying. It's the same thing. No, it's not. Tyler, who'd been silent this whole time, finally spoke up. Do you love him? The guy from the video. Everyone turned to look at him. Tyler, Dad started. No, I want to know. Because if Ryan's throwing away his marriage, his family, his faith for some random hookup, that's one thing. But if he actually loves this person. I thought about Marcus. About the way he listened. The way he smiled. The way kissing him felt like coming home to a place I'd never been. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe I could. But that's not why I'm doing this. Then why? Mom asked. Because I looked at my wife and realized I'd never loved her the way she deserved to be loved. Because I looked at my life and realized it wasn't mine. Because I kissed someone and felt something real for the first time in 10 years. I looked around the room. I'm not choosing to be gay. I'm choosing to be honest. If you can't accept that, then I don't know what else to tell you. Pastor Mike stood. Then we'll pray for you. That's all we can do. Don't. I headed for the door. Pray for yourselves. Pray that someday you'll understand that love, real love, isn't something to be ashamed of, no matter who it's for. I left. Got in my truck. Drove away from the house I grew up in knowing I might never be welcome there again. My phone buzzed. Text from Tyler. That took guts. I'm proud of you even if I don't totally understand it yet. It wasn't much. But it was something. The divorce papers arrived on a Thursday. I signed them in my nearly empty apartment, had to downsize after losing the job in the house, and mailed them back without ceremony. No lawyers. No fighting. Just two people acknowledging that the life we tried to build together was built on sand. Jessica included a note. I hope you find what you're looking for. I really do. You deserved better than a wife who was just convenient, and I deserved better than a husband who was just trying. She was right. About all of it. I got a job at a tech startup downtown. Lower pay, but they didn't care about viral videos or personal lives as long as you could code. I'd taught myself Python during the 3 weeks of unemployment, mostly because I needed something to do between panic attacks and existential dread. Turns out when your entire identity implodes, you have a lot of free time to learn new skills. Marcus and I texted sometimes. Careful, friendly texts about nothing important. He was freelancing, doing well. I was surviving, mostly. Neither of us mentioned the kiss. Neither of us mentioned what happened after. We were orbiting each other, both too scared to get closer and too drawn to pull away completely. 3 months after everything fell apart, I went to therapy. Dr. Sarah Chen was 40-something, had an office that smelled like lavender, and didn't flinch when I told her I'd accidentally come out via viral video. So you've spent your whole life performing heterosexuality, she said during our 3rd session. I wasn't performing. I believed it. Did you? I sat with that question for a long minute. No. I think I just wanted to believe it so badly that I convinced myself it was true. And now I don't know what I am. Gay. Bisexual. Just really confused. Does the label matter? Shouldn't it? She smiled. Only if it helps. Labels are tools for understanding ourselves, not prisons. Feels like a prison either way. Before I was trapped in straight, now I'm trapped in whatever this is. What if you're not trapped at all? What if you're just free and terrified? That hit harder than I expected. Over the next few months, I learned things about myself I'd spent decades avoiding. I'd never actually enjoyed sex with Jessica. I'd enjoyed the idea of it, of being normal, successful, masculine, but the physical act was something I endured more than enjoyed. I'd never had close male friends because I was terrified of feeling anything too intensely toward them. I'd built my entire personality around what I thought a man should be, and none of it was actually me. The real me was quieter, more thoughtful, liked poetry, for Christ's sake, though I'd never admitted it to anyone. The real me was attracted to men. Had been since puberty, though I dressed it up as admiration or envy or anything except what it actually was. The real me had been suffocating for 28 years. So what now? Dr. Chen asked during session 12. I guess I try to figure out how to live as this person instead of the other one. What does that look like? I have no idea. Then maybe start small. What's one thing the real Ryan wants? I didn't even have to think about it. To call Marcus. We met for coffee at a place in the city I'd never been to before. Neutral ground. He looked the same. Dark hair slightly longer. Same knowing smile. But there was a wariness in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Hi, I said, suddenly awkward. Hi. He ordered an Americano. I got tea. We sat by the window. So, Marcus said. You've been quiet. I've been trying to figure my shit out. And still figuring. I wrapped my hands around the mug. I'm sorry. For disappearing after everything. For not answering your calls. For Ryan, stop. You don't have to apologize for needing time. I feel like I do. You lost your job because of me. Dealt with all the same bullshit I did. And I just ghosted. You were in survival mode. I get it. He took a sip of coffee. Are you still in survival mode? No. I think I'm in what the fuck do I do now mode. He laughed. That's progress. We talked for 2 hours. About therapy, jobs, families, the bizarre experience of being viral for the worst reason. He told me his parents had surprised him. His dad, who he'd been terrified of telling, cried and said he loved him no matter what. His mom joined a PFLAG group. Lucky you, I said. What about yours? My brother texts sometimes. Everyone else? Yeah. Not so much. I'm sorry. Don't be. I think I needed to lose them to find myself. How fucked up is that? Not fucked up. Just honest. Honest. That word again. Can I ask you something? Marcus said carefully. Yeah. That kiss. In the parking lot. Did you mean it? My first instinct was to deflect, to make a joke, to protect myself. But I was so tired of protecting myself. Yes, I said. I meant it. I've thought about it every single day since. Sometimes with regret because of what it cost. But mostly just remembering what it felt like to want something and actually let myself have it. What do you want now? I looked at him. Really looked at him. At this man who'd accidentally detonated my life and maybe, inadvertently, saved it. I want to figure out who I am when I'm not pretending. I want to stop being afraid of myself. And I hesitated. I want to see if what I felt that night was real or just desperation. What if it was real? Then I want to see where it goes. But slowly. Because I'm barely holding my life together and I need to be solid before I can be anyone's boyfriend. Marcus smiled. Reached across the table and squeezed my hand once, quick, then let go. Slowly works for me. We started over. Coffee dates that turned into dinner dates. Movies where we sat close but didn't touch beyond accidental shoulder bumps. Long walks talking about everything except whether we were dating or just two guys hanging out who'd accidentally gone viral together. I told him about therapy. He told me about the guy he'd dated in college before retreating back into denial. We compared notes on coming out late, on the weird grief of losing one life while building another. 2 months in, he kissed me. Not in a parking lot this time. In his apartment, after dinner he'd cooked, while we were watching a movie neither of us was paying attention to. "Is this okay?" he asked. Pulling back slightly. "Yeah," I said. "Yeah, it's okay." It was more than okay. It was deliberate this time, chosen, ours instead of something captured and commodified. When we broke apart I was shaking but not from fear. "You good?" Marcus asked. "I'm good. I'm really good." We didn't rush it. Didn't fall into bed that night or the next. I was learning to sit with my feelings instead of running from them, and Marcus understood that in a way that made me love him a little more each day. Love. I could say that word now. Could feel it without the accompanying terror. 4 months after that coffee shop conversation, I came out on social media. Not dramatically. No video essay, no grand statement. Just a simple post. I'm Ryan. I'm 29. I'm figuring out who I am after spending most of my life trying to be who I thought I should be. I'm dating a man who makes me laugh and challenges me to be honest, even when it's hard. If you have a problem with that, that's your problem, not mine. To everyone who's been kind during this mess, thank you. You saved my life. I turned off comments and put my phone away. It got 847 likes. Mostly from strangers who'd followed me after the video, who'd been rooting for me to survive. A few from old friends. One from Tyler with a heart emoji. Nothing from my parents. Does it hurt? Marcus asked that night as we lay in his bed, my head on his chest. Yeah. But less than lying did. That's something. That's everything. He kissed the top of my head. I'm proud of you. For what? Being gay. I didn't exactly have a choice. No. For choosing yourself. That's the hard part. He was right. The hard part wasn't being gay. The hard part was unlearning 28 years of self-hatred. The hard part was building a life from scratch with no blueprint. The hard part was accepting that some people would never understand, never forgive, never come back. The hard part was doing it anyway. One night, 6 months into dating Marcus, my phone rang at 11 p.m. Unknown number. I answered. Hello, Ryan. My mom's voice, small and hesitant. It's Mom. I sat up. Marcus looked over, concerned. I shook my head. It's okay. Hi, Mom. Long silence. I've been going to these meetings. Flag. Your brother suggested it. I've been listening to other parents talk about their gay children, and I. Her voice cracked. I've been so wrong. So wrong about everything. Mom. Please let me finish. I need to say this. She took a shaky breath. I was so scared. When I saw that video, all I could think about was what people would say, what the church would think, how we failed you. But the only failure was not seeing you. Not seeing how much pain you were in trying to be someone you weren't. I couldn't speak. Tears were running down my face. I don't understand it all, she continued. I probably never will. But I want to try. I want to know this Marcus person who makes you smile in your photos. I want to, she started crying. I want my son back. I'm right here, I whispered. I've always been right here. I know. I know that now. Can you forgive me? Yeah, Mom. Yeah, I can. We talked for an hour. She asked questions, some awkward, some sweet, all genuine. She told me Dad was getting there, but needed more time. She told me she loved me 17 times, like she was making up for every time she hadn't said it over the past months. When I hung up, Marcus pulled me close. That sounded heavy. She wants to meet you. How do you feel about that? Terrified. Hopeful. Both. I laughed, wiping my eyes. Is this what healing feels like? Because it kind of sucks. Yeah. But it gets better. Promise. I promise. 3 weeks later, I brought Marcus home for dinner. Mom opened the door, and her eyes filled with tears immediately. "You must be Marcus. It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Carter. Please, call me Linda." She pulled him into a hug that surprised both of us. "Thank you for being patient with Ryan. And with us." Dinner was awkward. Dad barely spoke, asked Marcus about his work in a tone that was more interrogation than conversation. But he didn't leave. Didn't yell. Didn't throw us out. When we left, Mom hugged me hard. "It's a process," she whispered. "But we'll get there." Tyler walked us to the car. "He's good," he said, nodding at Marcus. "You look happy." "I am happy." "Good. You deserve it." He punched my shoulder. "Even if you are gay as hell." "Fuck off," I said, but I was smiling. "Love you, little brother." "Love you too." That night, lying in bed with Marcus, I thought about the video. About how 7 seconds destroyed my old life and built a new one. "Hey," I said into the darkness. "You awake?" "Yeah." "Thank you." "For what?" "For being patient. For waiting while I figured my shit out. For not running when I ghosted you. For Ryan." He turned to face me. "You don't have to thank me for loving you. You love me." "Yeah. Have for a while. Probably since that first lunch when you admitted you felt like you were living someone else's life." "I love you too," I said. "I think I loved you from the beginning. I was just too scared to know it." He kissed me. Slow and deep and certain. "Not scared anymore?" he asked. "Terrified," I admitted. "But doing it anyway. That's called courage. Or stupidity. Sometimes they're the same thing." We fell asleep tangled together, and for the first time in my life, I didn't dream about being someone else. I just dreamed about being me. 2 years later, the video still exists. I could ask Connor to take it down. We're oddly civil now. He apologized profusely once he realized the destruction he'd caused, but I don't. It's part of my story. The moment everything changed. Sometimes I watch it. Marcus catches me occasionally, sees that look on my face. "You okay?" he always asks. "Yeah. Just remembering." The video has 4.7 million views now. The comments are a war zone. Homophobic slurs next to heart emojis. People debating my sexuality like I'm a fictional character. Strangers saying I saved their lives by living mine publicly. A kid from Texas messaged me last month. "I saw your video when I was 15 and thought I was going to hell for being gay. Now I'm 17 and coming out to my parents next week. Thank you for showing me it's possible." That message lives in my favorites folder. I read it when the bad days hit. Marcus and I moved in together last year. Small apartment in the city, exposed brick. Too expensive but perfect. He works from home now, freelance design work that pays better than the corporate job ever did. I'm a senior developer at the startup, leading a team, making decent money. We're ordinary. We fight about whose turn it is to do dishes. We binge-watch terrible reality TV. We have boring, beautiful domesticity that I never let myself imagine before. Sometimes we go to Riley's bar. Different now, they fired Connor, put up a pride flag, donate to LGBTQ+ charities to make up for what happened. We sit in the same booth where everything started and order the same cheap beer. "You ever regret it?" Marcus asks sometimes. "Everything you lost?" "I regret how it happened. But not the outcome." "Even your family?" "Even that." I take his hand across the table. "I gained more than I lost." It's true. My dad came around eventually. Slowly, awkwardly, asking questions that made me cringe but showed he was trying. Mom and I talk weekly. Tyler's kids call me Uncle Ryan and Uncle Marcus without hesitation. I lost my church, but I found a new one. Progressive, affirming, run by a lesbian pastor who preaches about love without conditions. I lost my old friends, but Marcus introduced me to his. Game nights, dinner parties, people who knew me as I am now, not who I pretended to be. I lost my marriage, but I found partnership. Real partnership, where I wake up wanting the person next to me instead of tolerating them. Last month, we went to Pride. My first one. Marcus's 7th. He held my hand through the crowds, pointed out the different groups, explained the history I'd never learned. You okay? He asked when he saw me crying. Yeah. Just this. All of this. I gestured at the rainbow flags, the dancing, the joy, the defiance. I didn't know this existed. That people like us could just be happy. We can. We are. I wasted so much time. You survived. That's not wasted. A drag queen walked past, 12 feet tall in heels, and winked at us. Love the energy, boys. You two married. Not yet, Marcus said before I could answer. The queen gasped dramatically. What are you waiting for, honey? Life's too short and homophobes are too annoying. She sashayed away. I looked at Marcus. Not yet. He shrugged, smiling. Just saying. When you're ready. If you're ready. No pressure. You'd want to marry me? Even after everything. Ryan. I'd marry you especially after everything. You're the bravest person I know. I'm not brave. I'm just tired of being scared. That's what brave is. I kissed him right there in the middle of Pride, surrounded by thousands of people, and nobody cared. Nobody filmed it. Nobody judged. We were just two guys in love in a sea of people who understood. It felt like the opposite of that parking lot moment. Chosen instead of captured. Celebrated instead of condemned. Ask me again later, I said when we broke apart. When I've figured more things out. I'll be here. I went back to therapy last week. Not because things are bad, because they're good, and that's terrifying in a different way. I keep waiting for it to fall apart, I told Dr. Chen. For Marcus to realize I'm too damaged. For my family to take back their acceptance. For my past to ruin my future. Has any of that happened? No. Then what you're experiencing is what we call waiting for the other shoe to drop. Trauma response. You're so used to things being hard that ease feels dangerous. So what do? Practice believing you deserve good things. It's harder than it sounds. She was right. Every day I have to actively choose to believe I deserve Marcus, deserve happiness, deserve the life I'm building. Some days I believe it. Some days I don't. But I keep showing up. Keep trying. Keep being honest even when it's uncomfortable. That's the real work. Not coming out. That was one moment. The work is every day after. Choosing authenticity over comfort, truth over acceptance, myself over the version of me that made everyone else happy. Last night, Marcus and I were making dinner, his specialty pasta, my mediocre salad, when he said, I'm glad Connor recorded that video. I dropped the tomato I was cutting. What? I mean, obviously I wish it hadn't gone viral. I wish you hadn't lost your job and marriage and family, at least temporarily. But he stirred the sauce. If he hadn't recorded it, would you have gone back to Jessica? Pretended it never happened? I thought about it honestly. Probably. And we wouldn't be here. You'd still be miserable and lying to yourself, and I'd still be wondering what if. You think it was worth it? All the pain. Do you? I looked around our apartment. At the photos on our fridge. Us at Pride, us with my family, us just being us. At the life we'd built from the ruins of the old one. Yeah, I said. Yeah, I do. Then so do I. We ate dinner on the couch, legs tangled, watching some documentary neither of us cared about. Normal. Boring. Perfect. Hey, Marcus said during a commercial break. Yeah. I'm proud of you. Just wanted you to know. For what? For surviving. For being here. For choosing this life even when it was hard. I didn't have much choice. You always had a choice. You could have gone back to lying. Lots of people do. But you didn't. He was right. Every day I chose this. The uncertainty, the rebuilding, the slow, painful growth. Every day I chose truth over comfort. And it was worth it. Every hard conversation, every therapy session, every moment of terror that I'd made the wrong choice. Worth it for this. For pasta on the couch with someone who knows all of me and loves me anyway. The video still gets comments sometimes. People who just discovered it, people rewatching, people finding themselves in my story. Last week someone commented, "This is the video that made me realize I couldn't keep pretending. Thank you for being brave." I wasn't brave. I was desperate. I was drowning. I was out of options. But maybe that's what bravery is. Not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear be the only story. I'm Ryan. I'm 31. I spent 28 years being the wrong person and the last 3 becoming the right one. I'm gay. Or bi. Or queer. Or just me. The label matters less than the truth behind it. I'm in love with a man who saw me when I couldn't see myself. I lost a family and built a new one. Lost a life and found a real one. And that video, that 7-second video that destroyed everything, also saved everything. Because sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is also the best thing. Sometimes you have to burn down your life to finally start living it. Sometimes love proves you wrong in all the right ways. If you've ever felt like you were living someone else's life, know this. It's never too late to start over. It's never too late to be honest. It's never too late to choose yourself. Drop a comment if this story touched you. I read every single one. Subscribe for more stories about real people finding their way through the mess. Because we're all just trying to figure it out, one honest moment at a time.